Hello, this is Dr. K. In this module, we're going to set up our development environment for the NetBeans e-commerce tutorial. This is going to involve some downloading and installing and maybe even some waiting, but in general, it's fairly straightforward. The first thing we're going to do is download and install the Java EE or Enterprise Edition of NetBeans. Now, I'm assuming you already have Java 8 installed on your machine, and if you do, just make sure you install the Java EE version of NetBeans. It includes everything you need to create Java web applications. If you don't have Java 8 installed, please go over to Oracle and install it. If you're not sure, just type "how do I know what version of Java I have" in Google, and you'll eventually find the answer for how to check on your system. In the next few slides, I'm going to talk about how to begin the Affable Bean project in NetBeans. The first thing you do is open up NetBeans. Choose New from the File menu to create a new project. Now make sure the type of project you create is a web application. Once you have chosen web application, click Next and name the project Affable Bean. Choose the defaults. In particular, the Glassfish server should be chosen, and when it asks you to choose frameworks, do not add any. After you finish creating the project, run it. When you run the project, the Glassfish server will start up. Glassfish is an application server for Java EE applications. That means it can run Java servlets, Java server pages or JSPs, and enterprise Java beans or EJBs. In addition to all of this, it's also a lightweight web server, meaning that it can handle HTTP requests. After Glassfish starts up, a browser window should open up automatically on your system and display the default homepage, index.html. In this slide, you can see the code of the index.html page. This page is created automatically when you choose to create a new web application in NetBeans. In the upper left-hand corner of this slide, you can see the web page that displays. Its address is localhost:8080/affablebean. Localhost is the name of your machine, and port 8080 is the default port that the Glassfish server uses. As you can see from this slide, the text of the title and of the body from the HTML code appear on the web page. Now, we actually do not want this default index.html page. In fact, in the NetBeans e-commerce tutorial, it will show you that an index.jsp page is created by default. This may have been true in an older version of NetBeans, but it's not true in NetBeans 8. So we're going to create our own index.jsp page. It will reside in the web pages folder, just like index.html. Once you create a new JSP page named index and accept the defaults, run the project. You'll see that the index.html page is still the one that displays. To change this, we're going to create a deployment descriptor inside the web-inf directory. The file we create will be named web.xml. A deployment descriptor tells the web application how the components or pages in the application should be deployed. For example, once you create the deployment descriptor, open it up and click on the Pages tab. You should see a Welcome Files section that allows you to specify what you want to be your welcome file. Navigate to index.jsp and select it. Now when you run the project, index.jsp is the file that is displayed. Now that you have your Affable Bean project started on NetBeans, you should download and install MySQL and MySQL Workbench on your system. Make sure you do this from the MySQL website. Please, if you're using a Mac, do not use Homebrew or Mac ports unless you really know what you're doing and you're an expert with MySQL. That can cause all kinds of problems. The tutorial will go a lot easier if everyone's using the same type of installation. To ensure that you install correctly, watch the video called Installing MySQL on Windows by David Gassner on lynda.com. There's also a version of this for Mac OS X. These videos will also help you troubleshoot any minor problems you might have with the installation. At some point, you'll have to enter a root password for MySQL. Please write this password down somewhere so that you do not forget it. Make sure you know how to start and stop MySQL. And make sure you know how to check the status of the MySQL server. Once you're comfortable with starting and stopping MySQL, go into the Affable Bean project in NetBeans. There should be a Services tab on the left panel where you can see a list of services including databases. Right-click on Databases and choose Register MySQL Server. Enter localhost for the name and 3306 for the port number, which is the default port of the MySQL server, and enter your root username, which should simply be root, and your root password. Once you've done all this, your MySQL server should appear under the Databases service. Right-click on MySQL Server and create a database called Affable Bean, all one word and all lowercase letters. That's it. Now you've got the framework of your Affable Bean project all set up.